I found the solution in alcohol, and I found it very young. And then I found it in drugs because it worked faster. And I would try anything, like the designer drugs, the rave scene, in the 90s. Like, that was a lot of fun. Ecstasy was amazing. I mean, like, those things are all great, yet to solve my uncomfortability. I know today all they were doing is helping me escape my present moment. That's all it is. That's all alcohol and drugs are. That's literally the loop of addiction. I have an internal discomfort. I'm using an external source to fix my internal discomfort. It takes it away. The feelings come back. They come back stronger. I need to take more. I take it again, and there I am. I'm on the fucking merry-go-round. After a year, I wanted to die, right? And like, I've got 3 young kids, 10, 7, and 4. I want to die. My mom is like, you need to get help.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for considering donating to my podcast. When I started this page just a few months ago, I did not think I would get to this place that I'm at right now, but I cannot thank you all enough for even considering to donate to my cause. A lot of work goes into these things, whether that be getting guests, getting the expensive equipment, the editing. Oh my God, the editing takes me forever, and I'm terrible at it, so it takes me even longer. But if you're here, thank you. Whatever you can afford, I would so appreciate it. It would mean the world to me. So if you want to hear these recovery stories, keep coming, then please consider donating. It would mean just the absolute the world to me. So thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being a part of my journey. I really don't know what else to say besides thank you. And be on the lookout for many, many more episodes coming soon. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, and like in school, like just in general, like the outside world, it's easy to paint a pretty picture to society of, my life is good, and if people said like, how's things going? It's good. Like, that's it. That was my response. Everything's good. Everything is good. But on the inside, I'm fucking dying. Right. Like, I am like torn, like, and my solution to that, that restlessness, irritability, discontent, whatever you want to say, just incredible uncomfortability. I found the solution in alcohol, and I found it very young. And then I found it in drugs because it worked faster, and was bigger. It was a bigger relief.
Was
so
it
like,
like cocaine?
Cocaine's great, right? Like, cocaine's wonderful, feels amazing. I was kind of like a garbage head. I would try anything, like the designer drugs, loved, like the rave scene, in the 90s. Like, that was a lot of fun. Ecstasy was amazing. Like all of those, like, Special K, ketamine, all of those things. Like, I love tripping. You know what I mean? Like, those things are all great, yet to solve my uncomfortability. I know today all they were doing is helping me escape my present moment. That's all it is. That's all alcohol and drugs are. I am extremely uncomfortable right here, right now. Take me out of this, because I don't want to be right here, right now. So I just give me something that's going to take me out of right here, right now. So like, an alcohol and drugs did that for me. That's really what it is. That's literally the loop of addiction. I have an internal discomfort. I'm using an external source to fix my internal discomfort. It takes it away. The feelings come back. They come back stronger. I need to take more. I take it again, and there I am. I'm on the fucking merry-go-round, and it's just nonstop until I get off.
Yeah. So now walk me through that. So like, now that you're 17 years sober, man, like, and you talked a little bit about how you maintain your sobriety, but what's the thing that you're most proud of with all these years under your belt?
The most proud, helping other people, like seeing like other people like actually get
giving
it
back.
Yeah,
Paying it forward.
that's the thing, right? Like, and if I fail to do that, I'm failing to grow as a person, right? Like, that's kind of really what keeps me connected is trying to help other people, attain sobriety as well. Like, my rock bottom moment, and I share this a lot just because I think it's pretty important. Like, my rock bottom moment came in a rehab. So I wanted to die. My mom hears about it. She freaks out. She's like, you need to get help. Would you get help? And I'm like, I tried AA. I'd gone to AA for about a year prior to that moment. But I really just kind of tiptoed around the rooms. I kind of like didn't talk to anybody. I went into the meeting, I sat, I left, I didn't do anything. nothing. You know, I was still drinking intermittently. I would go to a meeting or two a week to keep, and really the only reason I was going was keep the hair, like just to keep the fire off my ass,
Yeah,
like keep
me
everybody at bay.
me
That's
too.
it.
I feel like I was going for such the wrong reasons.
Yeah. I'm
I
just,
was in such denial that
yeah.
I was like, I would go sometimes with a buzz going because I would be
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing here. I know I'm suffering and I'm struggling, and this is clearly like my subconscious brain trying to, you know, grasp at any kind of semblance of normalcy and being like a good person and, you know, well-rounded, balanced human. But I was just going into these things with a closed mind, couldn't stand the people that I was running into at these things. I'm not saying all of them. Like, there are so many wonderful people that I met in some of those rooms, and some of them made me, you know, brought me to tears. It was such an emotional testimony that they were giving or sharing that day. But and even nowadays, I'll pop into one and two. You know, if I'm feeling like the cravings coming on that are too overwhelming to bear, then I'll pop into one that usually kind of subsides the anxiety. But I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Like, it's tough. Like, and that's why I don't like to adhere to just like AA or just this or just. There is no one all be all answer to this thing. You have to find like what works for you, right? Like, you got to see what your personality is, and then pursue that knowledge of help and support and compassion and all that great stuff. Find those, find what resonates with you. Like, find what you get a connection with that feels like practical and makes sense. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then like what happened like after that though is like you know, after a year I wanted to die, right? And like I've got 3 young kids, you know, 10, 7 and 4. I want to die. My mom is like you need to get help, right? And so I was like fine, I'll get help. And she's like, "Would you be willing to go to rehab?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." So I'm out of my house. I'm living at her house, you know, I start researching rehabs online. Find some beautiful places, by the way. Some places like on the beach, you know, they got pools. It's beautiful. I'm like, this rehab's going to be awesome. You know, that's what I'm thinking. Rehab is going to be great. It's going to be great, right? I'm like, this won't be so bad. So my mom is like trying to get me into a rehab. It's about a week. She's worried. It's like nobody has any beds. And then she reached out to our state, like a senator, and he actually got me into a rehab. Like he had been the senate, like he was the representative for our district for fucking 50 years probably. She called his office and just said she called and she was desperate, I think too, and she just called and she said, "Listen, I've called every rehab in the area. There are no beds. My son wants to kill himself. He needs to get in somewhere. Somebody needs to help me." And he got her, like he called her back later that day or the very next day and said, "We got
Wow,
him a bed." Yeah.
shout out to that guy. I mean, that's
Yes.
talking about working for the people right there. That's
Yeah.
straight up,
So,
you know,
yep.
hitting the streets and working for the people for
Yeah.
doing your job the way it's supposed to be done.
Yep. So absolutely. And then so like the next day, the bed is available. Now it's real. Now you're going to rehab.
Yeah.
So that night, I'm like, maybe we need to pump the brakes a little bit. You know, maybe maybe it's not as serious as we're all making it out to be. You know, I mean, maybe we can do this a different way. These are all the thoughts that are going through my head. And mind you, every night that my mom and her husband went to bed, I'm in the refrigerator or in the liquor cabinet and I'm drinking every night that they go to bed. As soon as they go to bed, I'm drinking, you know? So like the next day, we're on the way to rehab. It's snowing. It's February in New York and the snow's coming down pretty hard. We're on the highway and I'm like, I think if I just jumped out of the car, maybe like the tractor trailer that's behind us would run me over and I would die and I wouldn't have to do this. Then I'm like, well, maybe we're going a little too slow. I'm not going to die. My mom's going to be traumatically affected by this situation. And I can't do that to my mom. I love my mom too much. Next thing you know, we're there. I'm like, fuck, okay, we're doing this, you know? So I go in, I wait for about 3 hours to get checked in the waiting room. They bring me into the back. Nurse is running piss tests. You know, he's taking my blood. He's asking me some questions. And he asked me, he's like, you know, when's the last time that you drank? I said, a couple of days ago. And he said, when is the last time you drank? And I said, this morning. He goes, there you go. For once in your life, why don't you just be honest? For once. He goes, you're here. You're here. This is your chance. Like if you are here, get everything you possibly can out of this situation. So like then on the way up in the elevator, I asked that same nurse, I was like, is there any advice you could give me? And he said, yeah, don't get involved in all the bullshit. He's like, there is a lot of drama up there. Stay out of it. Remember why you're here. I was like, okay. I went to bed that night because it was late. Got up the next morning, went down into the meeting room, and there's probably about like 23 people in there. Guy comes in to run the session. He says, everybody take a look around. Maybe 2 of you might stay sober. 2 of you might get this and experience long-term sobriety. I'm like, holy shit, these are not good odds. Like I'm like, this is not good.
2.
Yeah. Now, mind you, this place, it's the 3rd floor, like, MICA unit at a state hospital. That's their recovery center, is like in a hospital. And I'm like, this sucks. My thoughts instantly were like, this is not what I signed up for. This is not what I was looking at online. The places I was looking at online did not look like this place, so this was not the country club experience that I was hoping for. This is very different, and I didn't want to be there at all. So for the next couple of days, I was supposed to meet with like, the therapist there, like the psychiatrist, to get an evaluation. It kept getting pushed off. I'm complaining to my mom every day, like, this place doesn't have what I need. You got to get me someplace else. I'm supposed to meet with a psychiatrist. They haven't had that yet. Just a lot of complaining about my life and not really paying attention, during the meetings and stuff, trying to be as lighthearted as possible. There's, there's no going outside. You can go outside for like 20 minutes a day. There's no smoking, nothing. Like everything is taken, no caffeine, like nothing, so I'm like, this sucks. I went in there on February 12th, February 17th. I am on the phone with my then 4-year-old son. He is on the phone and he's like, hey, Dad, you're going to be at my party tomorrow, right? It's his birthday the next day. The next day, February 18th, was his birthday. And he's like, you're going to be at my birthday party tomorrow, right, Dad? And I was like, no, I don't know, bud. My kids thought I was working, right? So I'm like, no, I don't think I'm. He's like, no. You know where it is. You know where it's at. I'll see you tomorrow at my birthday. And that conversation broke me. It literally I hung up the phone and I went into my room, and for a person that had zero belief in God or anything of that sort, I was out of answers. And I knew at that very moment I was out of answers. And I hit my knees, in that room by myself. And I was asking for help, and basically the way it went was like, it was like an ultimate confession of everything I had ever done wrong. Every person I had ever wronged in my life came out of my mouth as the tears rolled down my face. And I said, please help me. I said, I can't do this. I had this realization, my pivotal moment, that window of opportunity came in a conversation with a person that I loved more than anything in the world, and for the first time in my life, I actually realized that my actions were not only affecting me, they were having a direct effect on the people I loved most in my life, and these people that loved me. And that really is what kind of pushed me into that.
It sounds like you found your why in that moment. You know what I mean? And that's what a
Immediately.
lot of people, myself included, I was searching for the why, even though I was surrounded by many whys. I just was too dumb, oblivious, denial, whatever you want to call it, to
100%.
recognize the significance of that why.
They've been around me. They surrounded me.
Yeah.
Right. Those whys surrounded me.
But you had to be in a place that you have no control of. You have very little freedom as far as what you eat and all that stuff, and can't have caffeine and, these normal things that we take for granted, I guess. But you finally found your why, man. I had a very similar situation I don't know if you know too much of my story, and I won't get into too much detail, but I had 2 transplants, and that saved my life. And then during this, in between the first and the second transplant, my stomach exploded, like it ruptured, and I went to septic shock, and they gave me a 10% to 15% chance of life to survive. So as I'm going through this, and I grew up in a very Catholic house. My father went, super, super devout Catholic, mother too. And, I didn't really believe in the dogmas of religion and all that stuff, but I knew there was like a higher power. Why are we all here? That kind of stuff. And I came to grips with the forgiveness component of sobriety. I finally succumbed to being powerless over alcohol. I was lying in a bed, already so sick. Amazed that I was still alive, honestly, but still in septic shock. Everything's confusing. And that's what I did. I sat there and I found my why, and I just went into these conversations that I was having in my head, but they were like you and I right now, like, but with all the people that I wronged throughout my life because of my drinking, embarrassing them, saying hurtful things, not apologizing for it. And then actually making the apologies in like the most purest, honest, authentic way I possibly could. And then I noticed, like, at that cold, long night of coming to terms with who, my faults, my mistakes, everything, I put it all on me. And then I said, I'm so sorry to everybody. And I went through each one, and all of a sudden, I can't explain it, man. Like,
Yes.
something was lifted off my shoulders. I took a deep breath.
Yeah.
Like, I came to, I was looking around. It was still dark, but the sun was starting to creep in the morning and the sunrise. And I was like, I'm here. Like, I'm still here. I have another day. I have another breath of life in me. What do you do? What do you do now? Like, you have to change. If you can't change then, if you can't see how clearly this, like, God has put this in front of you, and you said all your goodbyes and your forgivenesses.
Crazy. That's it. Like,
it.
You hit the nail on the head. Like, that is the first promise. Cause that's what I said. I go, at the end of everything that you just said, I got the God bumps.
I got goosies when you were talking about yours too.
I love it. And it's literally like when I made that confession, that like ownership of the things that I did, and now I'm taking accountability for it. And now I'm like, the words I said, if you help me, I will do everything that I can to stay sober. Because like you just said, if your why is strong enough, the how is easy, right? I firmly believe, and I say this all the time, I firmly believe, you can call it whatever you want. You want to call it your higher power, the universe, God, whatever. I call it God. My God can move mountains. But if I think that I'm not going to wake up tomorrow morning and the shovel's going to be laying next to the bed because I have to pick up the shovel, right? He'll move the mountains, but he's going to expect my help, right? And that's the promise I made. If you help me. And when I stood up after that situation, I literally, the same thing. I just was like, for the first time in a really long time, I just felt okay inside. I felt okay. It was literally like somebody was telling me, like, it's all going to be all right, dude. Like, it's okay. And then there was a knock on the door, and it was the nurse, and she said, you have a phone call. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, it's your mom. And I'm like, okay. So my mom is on the phone, and she's like, I found you another bed. They can have it at another facility. And I was just like, it's okay. She's like, what are you talking about? Are you okay? I go, Mom, I can't explain what just happened, but everything is going to be okay. I'm going to stay right where I am. And she was like, are you sure? Like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I am perfectly fine. Like, it was you want to talk about like God interceding, the universe interceding in my life. And like you said, the key is these moments happen all the time. I was just too fucked up and too entrenched in my own stuff to see it was actually the things that are being presented in front of me on a daily basis.
Yeah. When you have a pessimistic, because I mean, let's just call a spade a spade. Like, when you're a drunk and you're an alcoholic and you're going through life like pessimistic and negative, like, you don't, maybe if you don't know it, you are attracting more of that into your life. Like, and to break the cycle of that is super hard, but it just takes a very strong conviction of like, hey, this is not me anymore. It's not serving me. So I need to start giving out like loving energy, compassionate energy, like towards others in my world. And then what you start noticing is that these little blessings will start popping into your life the second. I'm not kidding. Like, this is what happened in the story I was just referring to. When I said when I said my penances and my confessions, all of a sudden when that sunlight started, and I started practicing gratitude. I started having a gratitude journal and things like that. As tacky, and I would never have done that in the past, but here I am writing, like, I'm grateful I'm alive. I'm grateful I have air in my lungs this morning. I'm grateful I don't want alcohol right now. Like, all these little small things. And then I started like having a smile on my face, and then I started to improve, like started to get like healthier. Like, and by the time the kidney transplant came 6 months after, And this is, mind you, I had a ileostomy bag on my body, attached to my body because my stomach exploded. And I'm sitting there like, woo-hoo-hoo, like, whatever, man, like whatever. If this is like a test
Show me the
that
way.
God's putting me through,
Show me the
I'm
way.
still going to write this.
Yeah.
This, I am grateful I am sober today.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
check
all
that
in.
one off. And then next thing I know, like my day is better. I'm setting myself up with the right foot, you know, and it's funny how many people miss that and they don't understand. It just takes a simple,
I live by this
simple
mantra.
kindness.
I think what you said is super important though, like about like the pessimistic, you know, just nasty attitude we walk around with, like when we're, you know, in our addiction, people in their addiction. Like I literally lived by the mantra, the world is full of assholes. I'm just living in it. It's not me. It's not me. But yeah, it is me. That's what I'm attracting into my life. It's all I see. Where, you know, where your focus goes, your energy flows. So if I'm constantly focused in the direction of this is not going to work out, this is not for me, then what am I going to do? That I need to start seeing things, feeling things, believing things, looking at the possibilities and things instead of looking at the, you know, the adversity and everything.
Yeah.
Because and that's one of the key things, like for my life today, is that undoubtedly we are going to face obstacles. We are going to, right? I'm going to face obstacles and adversity, but in every single one of those, there is opportunity. Like look at COVID, like what it did for me. Like, you know, I felt at the time immediately, it's like, it's taken away my livelihood, right? Like but had that not happened, like the opportunities that came from it, the transformations and the new direction that I got put in my, you know, placed, the path that I put myself on, looking at like what kind of opportunities are in this, we wouldn't be sitting here today. You know what I mean? Like we would not be sitting here today, you know, if certain things didn't happen. I wouldn't have the beautiful people that I have in my life today. Like, you know, like being in Las Vegas, like, you know, the people that are, you know, I kind of, you know, I help raise, you know, like 3 boys, you know, younger boys that are 15, 12 and 7. And like, you know, I get to play like a role in their lives that's way different, you know. It's just different, but it's awesome. You know what I mean? Like, and like one of the things I read this thing the other day, and I don't know it verbatim, but it's basically like, you know, recovery has helped me instill things into my children, you know, that I wish I knew then. You know what I mean? Like I can show them, like I can, it's kind of the same knowledge my grandfather tried to place upon me, you know, when I was a kid, but I was too smart to hear it. Right. Like, yeah, pa. He told me at 15 years old, like the day after I go up to his house to mow his lawn, they lived right up the street, after a family picnic, and I was drinking some beers at the family picnic. And, he said to me, he's like, "Hey, bub, you got to be careful." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" You know, nothing bad happened. Right. I had some drinks. I felt good, you know, and like, he was like, "You got to be careful." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "You have one and you can see it in your eyes.
Yes.
You're ready to go."
Yes. Isn't that crazy?
You're
I
ready
know exactly
to go.
what you're talking about. There's a type of person that you just see, like it's like you know, the throttle, you just put it in the fourth gear and you're like, "Oh,
I just flipped
off.
the switch. The switch is on. I just flipped the switch on. And for someone like me, I don't have an off switch. I don't. I do it until I either pass out, black out, do something stupid, or I end up handcuffed to a fucking hospital gurney, or in a jail cell, or, you know, in the trooper station. Like, these are the places that I end up. That wasn't on my list in the morning. This isn't how I looked at my day, right? Yeah. I didn't think my day was going to turn out this way. No way.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy, man? Like for me, I was chasing that first drink, like that first drink feeling where it's everything is like, "Oh my God, I can relax. I can laugh. I can be silly. I can just like chill out on the couch and watch a movie or something." But like what I didn't realize, and now what I do in recovery, is that it plateaus. So like, even if you have that first really stiff drink, like a, you know, Long Island iced tea or something, and you have that first one and you feel amazing, like the second one, you know, it's a return of diminishing returns, right? You plateau. So you keep trying to get it and you get kind of close, but you never actually get to that first initial feeling of what alcohol does to you. So for me, I was constantly chasing that feeling in drinking, like excess amounts, like maybe I'll get it again, maybe, and like it never would come, but I would just chase that initial feeling of like the most blissful euphoria of that first drink. But God,
It's
when those
100% like that what you just said is literally what separates like the alcoholic or abusive drinker from a person that's just a normal drinker, right? Like you can
Yep.
ask a normal drinker, like, why do you drink? It's like, I don't know. I love the pleasure I get from it. You know, it makes me feel a little happier, a little more joyful. You know, I let down my inhibitions a little bit. And it's like, okay, that sounds awesome. And then why do you have another one? Well, you know, after the first one, I'm feeling pretty good. I start drinking a second, and about halfway through the second one, I start to feel it. And then I'm like, done. What?
yeah
You're what? You're done? Like
yeah
when I start to feel it is when I hit the fucking gas pedal. Like,
yeah
what are you talking
that's
about?
when you
You're
go into
done.
it. Yeah.
It's literally that is what a normal person says. Well, why didn't you have any more? Well, I was starting to feel it.
Yeah.
Starting to feel what? Like that's when I start. Like I thought that's where you're that aren't you looking to feel it?
Mm-hmm.
No.
That's
They're
why I
just
get.
they're
That's why
not
I get.
looking to feel it.
I get pissed when people say like there's no biological component towards alcohol addiction. I completely disagree because I know
So
I feel it, and I have friends, family members that don't really drink much, and they don't get that. So it's like, but my dad had it, and like some, you know, and other people in my family definitely probably show signs of it every now and then. But it's something that like is so overlooked, and we don't address it properly. I feel
yeah.
like, and we don't talk about it openly, like as if it could happen to you, you know, like that's something I wish they kind of like, when we were younger, they really honed in that idea of like, just because it doesn't happen to everyone doesn't mean it can't happen to you. And likely will, if there is some kind of biological attachment to that.
I think that what they have proven scientifically, because there's people out there, like there's people that just believe like this is a willpower type thing. Like you need to fight it more. Not, I don't believe in that whatsoever. Right. Like all the willpower in the world wouldn't keep me from fucking doing something that even I didn't want to do it. I knew I wasn't gonna do it. I told myself over and over again. And then all of a sudden, like, why does it seem like a good idea? So like, you know, there was for a long time, they would say that there's a genetic component for alcoholism, but it's bigger than that, right? The genetic component is that we can be predisposed to having addictive personality, right? And you can fill in any of the blanks, whatever you want to fill in the blank with, whether it's, you know, alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, shopping, you know, social media, whatever it is, whatever relieves that uncomfortability inside me from an external source. So that's the addictive component of it. Like that's the genetic marker that people do have, that like, are you one of an addictive personality? So that's why alcoholics and addicts can be so successful if they put their focus in the right direction. If my why is strong enough, the how is going to be easy. I can use that genetic predisposition that I was using for bad. My focus was in the wrong direction. But if I can focus that to be extremely motivated. I can take massive action, be extremely disciplined, because I was super disciplined when it came to getting fucked up. Like
Me
you
too.
ask any addict.
Oh yeah.
Like we will find a way. I will find
yes,
a way
yes.
to get drunk.
Yes.
Right. So okay, if I was that determined to stay drunk, it's a whole lot easier to stay sober.
I know.
Right. Like think about the things that you would do to hide it, to, you know what I mean?
Just
To manipulate
the mental, like,
all of it. It's exhausting.
The exhaustion
It's
of
exhausting.
Mm-hmm. I would feel so drained at the end of Bender, because I would be like, I just spent so much time planning this whole Bender, going to the store, getting the Smirnoff bottle, but buying 6 Gatorade bottles, putting that big thing of Gatorade into another bottle, taking those Gatorade bottles, making sure they're half full with Gatorade so it doesn't look like just clear liquid, right? Putting them in, getting into my car, putting them in hiding spots, going to the shed, putting it in a shed, going into a bush, finding it in a bush. Like, it was, what was I doing? I was like living in a crazy different reality than many people walking amongst me. You know, it was just exhausting. I would say I would hit the pillow every night, and I'd be like so upset with myself, so discouraged. Couldn't believe that I became this person. Like, I was a teacher, so this contradictory thing was coming into it. I felt like a fraud, a phony. You know, it was just one bad decision after another. And I wasn't willing to seek support because of because of who I am, I guess I was raised, like the person I am. Like I just didn't want to admit that I had a problem, and only did it take a liver transplant for me to finally understand that life is precious. You should never take a day for granted. Be kind to others. Practice gratitude. Do all these things that we should be doing anyways in life. Unfortunately, my journey was very difficult, and who knows what the future holds. But right now, man, I'm just happy I'm sober, and I'm happy that I'm having this conversation with you, Michael,
Yeah.
and you're keeping me sober today, buddy. So
You know what was awesome is like you just said, like, who knows what the future holds? But you know what? That's the exciting part, right?
Yeah.
Like we actually get to show up and see what happens. Like we get to see what happens today. And I love to tell people like our best days are still ahead of us.
Oh, yeah.
And no matter where you're at in life, it doesn't matter what age, what part of you, like you could be feeling like you're super successful and there's a lot of good going on. But hey, let's look at it from the standpoint of like, as great as it is, your best days are still ahead of you, right? Live with that mindset that my best days are still ahead of me, no matter what's going on. And I can continue to grow, because that's what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to continue to grow.
Yeah. I also have this cool thing that someone shared with me that I actually hated at first, but now I love it. Whereas instead of saying, "Oh, I have to," like you just say, "Oh, I get to," even if it kind of sucks a little bit. But it's better than the alternative for me, at least, was death. So like, "Oh, I get to, go pick up like my niece," like, which now like I really enjoy doing, like being reliable, being that uncle that now can go like pick up my nieces and nephews and be the responsible uncle, fun uncle that I always was supposed to be, but was so clouded with alcohol addiction that I couldn't see through to the light. I couldn't see that life actually is better sober. I just couldn't see it. I just didn't. I wasn't willing to get that far. But here we are, man, and life is good, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, man. I would 100% agree with you. And that one word, changing one word, just changes everything. I have to do this. I have to do this. I get to do this.
Yeah, you just get to do it. You get to
just think about the way that it changes.
It just sounds so light. It sounds so freeing. It sounds so like abundantly obvious. Like, oh, I get to do that. Like, I get to do, be nice to my. Like, what do you like? Your
physiology. Like your physiology changes, like, right? Like I have to do this too. I get to do this, right? And like when we're standing a little taller and walking a little prouder, like guess what? Better things happen. And how is that possible? Well, because now I'm attracting better people into my life. Nobody wants to go approach the guy that's walking around like this.
Yeah, and then you get mad, like, "Welcome, no one's saying hi to me." It's like, dude, like, look at man, you're not approachable.
Closed. Yeah, you are completely unapproachable, right? Like I'm not going to come up to you. Like maybe I would in a recovery situation be like, "Hey, is everything okay?" You know what I mean? Like, you look like you're a little down today. Like, what are you talking about? No, I'm not. I'm fine. Like, oh, you fucking sure seem fine. You know what I mean? Like, nobody got here being fine. Trust me.
Yeah.
I'm telling you now, this was not on my list of, I wasn't hanging out. It was a gorgeous day outside. Like, hey, I'm going to go check out a fucking recovery meeting. I'm going to go to an AA meeting. Nobody said that. This is the last, you know what I mean? It's the last house on the block. I didn't see recovery as a part of my life when I was a kid.
No,
I didn't think, no little kid ever sits around, says, I want to be an alcoholic or an addict when I grow up.
I was convinced.
There I
was convinced that I would never become one. I was like, oh, I'm keeping it together. I have a job. I have like a girlfriend. I have this, like, I have, it was always, I was always like making room for it, even though like the room was getting closer and closer on me. It was about to collapse on my neck, but I was still like, oh, I can still drink. I can still drink. But like, it just took time. It took a liver transplant for me to finally see the way out of this thing,
I'm super glad it did.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I wish it didn't happen, but I'm glad. I'm glad all the wisdom I've learned from a lived experience of having to go through something so traumatic as a.
Think of how many people that you're going to be able to help with that experience.
Yeah,
that's what I like to tell people, right? Like it's the experiences, it's the hardest things that I went through in my life where I can actually offer the most help.
Mm-hmm.
It's those things, because like when it's those moments where I felt the most low. And now I can sit here and say, like, I made it through it. And so can you. And I know a whole bunch of other people that have made it through the same thing too. Yeah, and it's amazing, because I never thought it was possible, but apparently, because of the living human beings that are standing now in front of you, it is possible, because not one of us thought it was possible either in the beginning.
No, I never saw a way out. I was towards the very end of the heaviest addiction, the grasps of addiction, alcohol addiction that I was going through. I was when I felt my liver hurt, that was like, okay, now I'm just going to drink myself to death. I don't want to be a burden on anyone else. I don't want to disappoint everyone all the time, like every single day, like I am. It just became too overwhelming, and I wasn't willing to seek support, get help, be vulnerable. Just say I need help. Like, it's not even like a big deal. If someone were to come up to you, right? Someone come up to you in the street and say, "Hey, man, like I need help," with you name it, X, getting to the coffee shop. Oh, yeah, it's right down there. Like, and you feel like a little bit better. But it's weird. Like, we don't like to do that as humans. We don't want to show like a brave face. We don't want to show that. We do want to show a brave face. We don't want to show weakness, and that's stupid. Everyone's suffering. Everyone's dealing with something. If it's not alcohol, it's something else that they're hung up on, or they're experiencing right now. You have to be mindful of that. That's why I don't get pissed at people who cut me off or whatever, because I'm like, that guy, who knows what that guy was going through right now.
You might be rushing to the hospital, right? Like, you have no idea. Like, that's why, like what you just said, like nobody knows what every other people are going through. Like, there's a quote, and they give credit to Mother Teresa, they give credit to Gandhi, but the quote is, "I once cried because I had no shoes. Then I met a man with no feet." And that's powerful stuff right there. You know what I mean? Like, because I can think that everything in my life is tough and hard and blah, blah, blah. But guess what? So is everybody else's. Everybody else has got something going on, and theirs might be more traumatic than what I have going on, like more detrimental. Like, don't you know, I need to get to the store. I need to make dinner. Well, that person that just cut you off needs to get to the hospital because their baby's about to be born. Right? Like, I don't know what's going on in other people's lives, and who am I to judge? I was the most judgmental person in the world. I could tell you about every person in the room, and I never met them, but I got something to say about them. Recovery really taught me, like, dude, it's not up to me to judge anybody. We'll all be judged someday. It ain't going to be by me.
Mm-hmm. No, that's a great way to end it, man. What do you think?
That's a great, yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's a great way to end it. So, Michael, where can people find you, man? If they're curious, I'll reach out to you.
Absolutely. So the space that I hang out the most in is on Instagram, and you can find me at Better Beginning Now. And then I also just starting to get a little more active. I'm going to get a lot more active in the Facebook group, which is also Better Beginning Now. But if you go to the Instagram page, there's a link to the Facebook group. Come over, join it. It's just a place where I want people to have good conversations, helping one another, because I really do firmly believe that we are all healing from something. And I know from personal experience that when we heal together, we heal much faster and in much better and greater ways.
Yeah. And it's fun. Fun.
I love it. I love it, man. I'm feeling great now.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. I feel good.
Yeah. And I feel good too, man. I'm really glad that you jumped on this episode today, because I feel like I needed it. I was in kind of a funk, and you brought me back to the foundation again of why I'm doing this in the first place. It's to have conversations like this, very free flowing, honest conversation about alcohol and drugs and whatever, and how that there is a life past them. So, don't give up. Don't ever give up hope, because the second you give up hope, that's when everything goes away. So don't give up hope, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I thank you, Will, for having me here, man.
Oh,
thank you very,
pleasure.
very much. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Well, thank you, everybody, for watching this episode, and I hope you liked it, and as much as I did. And be on the lookout for many, many more episodes coming soon. Also, I wanted to mention, I haven't even mentioned this on because I always think that my YouTube podcast, the video one that we're on right now, is like the end all be all, but I really got to put more stock into, I'm on Spotify, I'm on Apple Podcasts, I'm on all the different, wherever you can get any kind of podcast, streaming podcast. Please, guys, like, go check those out too. If you're like on the way to work and you don't want to watch my big fat head, go for it. Just listen to my big fat head. That's okay. But yeah, for real, check those out. Subscribe to my channel. That'd be so cool. That would be just, mean a real lot to me. And I hope the audio stuff starts to go up, because, I should really start pushing that as well. I think a lot of people, myself included, I listen to podcasts all the time. So, wherever you get a podcast, check out the Willpower podcast with Will Gordon. Make sure you put the Will Gordon part in there, because there's a million Willpower podcasts. I probably picked the worst one name, but Anyways, yeah, so check that out, guys. And again, thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you, my friend Michael over here. Thank you so much for coming on, and be on the lookout for many, many more episodes coming soon. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Take care.